What's up, boys? My name is StevieWunderKid and welcome back to another GTA 5 drifting video. Now, I know it's been about a month since my last upload and I am really sorry about that, but I do want to say that I am cooking up some big banger videos for you guys, so definitely stay tuned. Quality over quantity has always been my motto, and I really don't want to sacrifice that. I have a lot of really good ideas and it's just a matter of making them the best that they can be. So give me some time and I promise I will be back with some big, really good videos, in my opinion, really awesome videos, so stay tuned for that. But I did want to kind of check back in just to show you guys the brand new Bravado Hotring Hellfire, and also just to talk a little bit about the 10-year anniversary of GTA 5. I have actually been playing the game since day one. Proof of that, by the way. Let's head into stats. This is something that I only recently saw, but you can see there, my online character was created October 4th, 2013, because that's when I was able to actually get onto the servers, and I've been playing for 158 days as this character. Don't want to look at that much longer because those are 158 days of my life I'm never going to get back, but GTA 5 is 10 years old, which is pretty awesome. The actual event itself to celebrate 10 years, obviously in some aspects it was kind of cool, especially with getting the single player outfits. I think overall though, it just was kind of lazy. I really wish Rockstar had given us more to celebrate such a huge milestone. I mean, this has been the most profitable entertainment product for the past like 10 years, so you would have thought they would have celebrated that more, but hopefully with Rockstar being kind of quiet on their end, that means that GTA 6 or something related to GTA 6 is coming soon. I don't know, but whatever. Quick reflection back on that, because I am appreciative of this game for giving me everything. Well, not everything, obviously. I mean, I've done a lot of that for myself, but being able to play this game and obviously make YouTube content, and now over 30,000 people watch me to see content on this game, is pretty darn cool. But anyway, getting actually into the meat and potatoes of this video, as part of the 10-year anniversary, wasn't all bad. We actually did get access to a new car, and that is the Bravado Hotring Hellfire here. For a whopping $1.81 million, you can pick this car up off of the Southern San Andreas Super Autos website. And this is actually, I think now, is the best hot ring car in the game. So we have the hot ring Everon and then the normal hot ring car. I forget what that's called, the hot ring Saber maybe? I don't know. But those cars were pretty lackluster, mainly because they had the stupid handling flags, and now with the almost $2 million version of the hot ring car, of the Hellfire here, this car doesn't have handling flags. And also, for drifters, this is an amazing drift car. And today I'm going to be going over everything I did for my build and show you guys all the ins and the outs of drifting this car and all that stuff. But yeah, anyways, first off, moving into the mod shop here, we are at the mod shop in the Alice car meet, in case you guys are confused about that. This is definitely the one-stop shop, especially for drift builds, because you can equip everything plus low grip tires at the spot. So would highly recommend going here. But anyway, we're going to get into the bare minimum upgrades that I recommend you at least take a look at. So first off, in armor here, I did upgrade the armor all the way. This is an optional upgrade, but because you're not going to be stancing this car manually with a weapon, you're only going to be running low grip tires. I'll touch on that a little bit, but because of those reasons, and because you really won't need to ever, not run armor, I would recommend having the armor on, just in case, you accidentally tap a wall, you crash into traffic or something like that, you're not fully destroying the car. Definitely helps retain the car's handling for a longer drift session, which is nice. Skip over the brakes, but I would recommend leaving the brake stock, especially with this car as well. This car actually has an air brake. I'll show you guys that in a little bit, but that pretty much makes up for not having a brake upgrade, and especially for drifting, we're going to have the least powerful brakes that we want to have, so that way we're not slowing the car down too much when we use the brakes and like high angle drift. So definitely leave those stock. For the engine here, we're just going to upgrade that all the way, nice and simple. Want to max out the amount of power that this car has. For the spoiler here, I went with the bolted ducktail. Overall for this build, I just kind of went for like a, I don't know, kind of like a modified race car turned into drift car kind of thing. Kind of gave me Gymkhana vibes, to be honest. So to complement that look, I did go with the bolted ducktail. Based on all the testing I've done with this car does not get any impact, or really when you're drifting it, you really won't see any traction difference from equipping a spoiler versus just leaving the stock spoiler on. So I'd recommend, just kind of go with whatever spoiler you want, and you really won't notice a huge difference. Next up, for suspension here, I want to lower it down all the way to the sport suspension, because I actually did think this had a nice impact on handling. Not too crazy, but did make the car feel a little bit more planted, so I would recommend lowering that as much as possible. Transmission, we're going to max that out to race, so we can really easily hit that mid-drive speed boost and keep that going. And then the turbo as well, well. We're going to throw on the turbo tuning just to max out the power. This car probably doesn't need the turbo upgrade. If you don't have it unlocked, or maybe you don't want to spend the money on it, you could probably leave it off and you have fun with it, but for the sake of drifting, it's kind of just the icing on the cake, so that's why I threw it on. For the wheel type here, really doesn't matter. Really, all you need to look at is the tire enhancements, and here you should equip low grip tires. And that is really the base build. Honestly, there's really not much else that you guys need to play around with regard to tuning this car. This car doesn't have a lot of tuning options or a lot of options you need to kind of play around with to find what you want. It's kind of just a set and forget thing. But anyway, the car is all built, it's all upgraded, and now we're going to head outside and we're going to take a look at how this thing actually drifts and talk through some of the handling quirks and things like that. So the first thing I want to say, oh man, it's at night. So the first thing, I guess the most glaring thing about this car is it doesn't have headlights, which kind of sucks, but luckily you guys can still see what's going on. I can barely see what's going on, but on the recording it looks good, so I'm just gonna roll with it. But a couple things as I drive this car out to the very first drift spot. The first thing is that this car has the air brake, and as you guys can see, this is what I'm talking about. When I press the brakes while the car is rolling, you can see there that the flaps will come up in an attempt to increase drag and help slow the car down. Now when it comes to drifting, you can use this to your advantage, but you do need to use the brakes very sparingly. You can't use the brakes a lot because they will slow the car down, even leaving the brake stock on this car. If you use the brakes while you're drifting, maybe you're hitting reverse entry or a 360-degree entry, or you're in a high angle scenario, using the brakes can ultimately hurt your drift if you use them for too long, because it'll slow the car down very, very quickly and very suddenly, and you don't want that to have happen. So I would recommend leaving those brakes stock and also not using the brakes a ton. You can still use them, and again, like really dire scenarios where you need to reel the car back in and prevent it from oversteering, but yeah, just wanted to keep that in mind with regard to the brakes. Additionally, and I'll stop so that way you guys can kind of see this car does not hold a lot of steering angle. Just at a stop here, you guys can see there's barely any steering lock, as you guys can see there, almost none at all. I mean, it's a very small angle. And also the way GTA 5's handling works, or the static stationary steering angle, as you guys can see here, is actually more than what it has when you're actually going at speed. So at speed, the angle that you saw there is even less. So this car does have problems with holding sustained angle very often, and as you guys will see this as I get into actually drifting it, is you'll need to kind of float the car around corners to prevent it from oversteering. It's very easy to kind of want to go balls to the wall with this car and to kind of just send it and always be on steering, power, throttle, all that stuff to kind of keep a slide going. But for this car, if you apply too much of that power at once, it will quickly start to oversteer, and in order to prevent that from happening, it's better to kind of float the car around a corner, either let off the gas or tap the handbrake to kind of help the car regain traction a little bit so you can keep the drift going without fully spinning out. So those are kind of the two main things with regard to this car's handling. Everything else about it, I guess I just kind of need to show you to prove it, but this car really does have solid bones to be a great drift car, so let's send it. Honestly, I'm going to try to go for a high angle drift so I can prove the use of the brakes, so throw it in here. There we go. Use those brakes. And as you guys can see there, the car slowed down very quickly. Luckily enough, the car has enough power to be able to kind of pull it out of that really quickly, but still, I was kind of afraid that I was going to fully stop there. So good thing that the car has enough power to reel it out. There is another instance where I'm using the brakes to kind of prevent the car from fully oversteering. Either that or just kind of floating the car around the corner would help prevent that from happening. So another good entry here. There we go. And the car does hold decent angle in drift, but in those instances where you have a heavy car and you give it a little bit too much angle, then it will very, very quickly spin out. So it's a matter of you trying to find a way to fix that as quickly as possible. But anyway, I mean, overall, this car is still, as I said, it has all the bones to be a great drift car. Kind of floated in around that corner and there. Ooh, a little bit of a wall tap, that's okay. But yeah, I mean, all things considered, this car absolutely rips with regard to performance. It's got so much power, especially with all the engine and turbo upgrades and all that stuff. This car is an absolute ripper, and it really does feel very planted and natural as a drift car with regard to power delivery. It's based off the Hellfire, which is a heavy car, so it still does have some of the weight of that car, but it just feels way less boaty. Obviously it's a race car, so it should be stiffer, but that stiffness with this car really helps. But you still have the weight on your side to kind of keep the momentum going and keep those long slides going with absolute ease. There we go, keep this thing going. But yeah, absolute ripper. And as a drift car, this thing is amazing, as you guys can see here. But for a drifter who's looking to buy this car, I wouldn't buy this explicitly for drifting. If you're a car collector and you want to have it available to do like hot ring races, then yeah, by all means you can get this thing a shot for drifting. But buying it outright to be a drift car, I feel like doesn't make a lot of sense financially speaking, at least, because this car is almost $2 million and can be outperformed by a lot of other cars that you can get for a lot cheaper that will probably handle a bit better and obviously have more customization, more performance, and just generally feel better as a drift car. But still, if you happen to own this car and you ever wanted to give drifting a shot on this thing, then yeah, definitely go on and throw on those low grips, because this thing is an absolute riot. So yeah, let's just keep it going. Let's do a nice line. I'm gonna shut up and let's just let it rip. Ooh, I spun. That's okay. Use the brakes to kind of help. Yeah, as you guys can see there, once you press those brakes, man, it slows the car down quick. So you do need to be kind of vigilant with that to make sure that you're not slowing the car down too much and you're not, you know, reeling the car back in to the point that you straighten out and you just kill the drift entirely. There we go. Had to float it a little bit just to get it out towards that wall. Ooh, thread the needle. That was cool. Floated it a bit around that corner just so we wouldn't spin out. And that's the great thing about this car too, is that the fact that it's so heavy is that you can float the car reliably around a corner and you don't need to really be on it, because the car is heavy enough that it'll just kind of keep sliding, and it already has, you know, a little bit less grip than most other cars, so it's nice and very, very smooth in that regard when it comes to kind of letting the car do the work for you, which is great. But yeah, really great power overall, very balanced in terms of the suspension and the handling feel, and I'm having fun here. As you guys can see, linking together some nice wide lines. This thing is a very fast car as well, which is nice. So if you're into those faster and powerful cars that you can link together really wide lines with, then this is one of those cars for sure. And it can also obviously handle the tighter stuff too, if that's your thing. If you're into more, you know, Gymkhana type drifting, then this is another great car for that. But yeah, man, this thing is a ripper. I could just keep doing this all day, to be honest. Once you get past learning the angle and learning the limits of this car with regard to that, and you get behind the finicky braking, then, ooh, that was clean. That was so clean. But once you guys kind of get past that, those hurdles, and you learn to practice in this thing, ooh, almost oversteered there, then this thing is an absolute riot to drift and very, very fun. Kind of glad that we have a new drift car to be able to play around with in this game, especially for the 10-year anniversary. But yeah, very clean exit to the drift. I'm going to drift back into the parking lot. That wasn't as smooth as I wanted it to be. That was a horrible park job. But anyways, boys, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this drifting video covering the brand new Hotring Hellfire. Overall, blast of a car, a really kind of fun way, I guess, especially for drifters, to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of GTA. But yeah, I'm going to leave the video off there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. As always, feel free to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for a lot of banger videos coming in the very near future. Just give me some time and I promise they will be worth the wait. But anyways, guys, always happy to check in. Hope you guys are having a great start to your fall, and I will see you guys in the next video.